So you can tell that when we talk about who performs incident management, that there are a wide variety of players that come into action as part of incident management, depending on the incident, depending on the tasks that need completed, and depending on the response and mitigation strategy that's established. It can be the CSIRT staff, if there is one, or just the incident response staff, or an incident management capability. IT may be the ones that actually go and repair affected systems. Physical security staff may be involved if there is unauthorized access was part of allowing someone to reach key critical services and assets and compromise them. If there are vulnerabilities, and maybe talking to vendors. If there is network traffic issues, or if there is some type of distributed denial of service, you may be involving your internet service providers. If you're a very small organization, you may even be retaining services from ISP and its related service functions to actually perform incident management for you. You may be speaking to victims or involved sites who have systems that have been affected or have reported problems to you. You may be working with lines of business within the organization to collect information. Those lines of business may actually then be going out and making changes within their own operations. Upper management may be making administrative and policy changes, and they're certainly involved in making large-scale decisions for anything that's going to change the major infrastructure or anything that's going to affect the operation of your key services that are being offered. If it was determined that any malicious activity was perpetrated by a staff member within your organization, your HR and insider threat staff could be involved. If you have to communicate internally or externally, your public relations or media staff might be involved. Risk management can be identifying risks and threats to the key to your key assets. They also may be pulled in during an incident to help identify the level of risk and maybe the cost of any type of malicious activity, downtime, productivity loss, things like that. Legal counsel can get involved in understanding service level agreements and liabilities, in contacting law enforcement if necessary, and determining that any type of evidence that's collected and analyzed, any type of relations with employees is all done and with employee rights, civil rights and privacy being protected. So there's a lot of different groups that can get involved. So many incident management becomes an activity that goes across the infrastructure. We have to look at it that way. We have to ensure that the processes are defined across the infrastructure and institutionalized across the infrastructure so that you know the authority, the role, and the responsibility that each player has for your own instantiation of your incident management capability. Incident management certainly ties into other process areas, but it's also part of the information assurance and information security lifecycle. So in this case, we have pulled from the NIST cybersecurity framework their main components of their information assurance and information security lifecycle. And you can see that a lot of the things that we've been talking about show up as part of this. So if we look at some of the things that we said the incident management function has to get information from, you'll see risk assessments, risk management, business environment. We also see that someone is keeping all the defenses in place. We've mentioned that. And now when we start to get into detect, respond, and recover, we start to see, again, that incident management functions that we talked about within the incident management process. So detecting anomalies and events, doing continuous security monitoring on networks and systems, defining that detection process and response, whether we're doing the planning for response, communications, analysis, mitigations, and then based on lessons learned, improvement. And then recovery is implementing those improvements, but also getting the operational components back up to a normal state of operations. So you can see how incident management fits in to that larger cycle. And this is just another example. This is looking at the NICE initiative that also comes from the federal government in the US, and just taking a look at all the different parts of their whole look at information security. And you can see that third one down, protect and defend, we have incident response showing up. But you can see that there are a lot of other pieces in that larger, broader information security arena. So we can't look at incident management as standalone. It must be tied in to the other functions and processes related to information security defense, prevention of any type of malicious activities or damaging activities, and how it ties into security and awareness, education and training, and other types of management of the key assets and protection of the key assets. Now, incident management is not without its share of problem areas. One of the big problems is there's no standard definitions of terms across the community. It's not always consistent or shared. There may be small pockets where incident is defined the same way, but not everyone defines the term incident or event the same way. Not everyone defines incident management the same way. And the community is trying to move forward across that. But certainly, if you don't have similar definitions, or if you're not, it's harder to do information sharing. And if you are doing information sharing, you need to explain your definition. So part of the information that you're sending to someone else, you have to send them your definitions. And information sharing itself is very difficult. It's difficult to determine who needs what information so that you're not sending them information that is not relevant to them, so you're not sending information that is too noisy, where they're getting so much information they can't do anything with it. And so very often, a lot of information is shared, but no one can act on the information. It's not in a form that can be acted on. So people are looking for standard mechanisms to do some automated sharing of information. We see more and more endeavors in this area, but there's not been a taxonomy or a method for information sharing that has been determined to be used across everyone. So people are looking for different ways to share information between the different information sharing initiatives too. So we have to keep in mind that there are a lot of issues that still have to be addressed within the incident management community. There are a lot of resources out there for not only the larger incident management, but also incident handling. There are resources about various processes, how to implement them. There are also information on current risks and threats that are out there. So there are information certainly from the CERT division at the Software Engineering Institute. US CERT, United States Computer Emergency Response Team, has incident reporting forums and has information that places on its websites, has different programs people can participate in to get information and share information across sectors. We mentioned the Forum of Incident Response and Security Teams is an organization that has focus on incident response teams across different types of organizations, whether commercial, whether vendor, whether academic, whether government. And they have annual conferences, they have a website, they have technical colloquiums. SANS, Assist Admin Audit Network and Security Institute, has many different programs and certification tracks for improving skill sets in incident handling and incident management. The ENISA, the European Union Agency for Network and Information Security, has a lot of documents that are out there that talk about building specific type of incident management capabilities for nation states and for governments. And there's also a CCERT, Computer Security Incident Response Team Maturity Kit, that pulls together a lot of best practices in the area of incident handling and makes it available. That's a free publication available to kind of help people understand the best practices that are out there that they might be able to use to improve their own operations. The specific resources from CERT, the Defining Incident Management Processes for CCERT's a work in progress. This is the document that identifies and lays out the incident management process model that had the prepare, protect, detect, triage, analysis, response piece. There are also 2 evaluation instruments available, incident management capability metrics that can be used to evaluate and assess the capability of an incident management team or function, and then the mission risk diagnostic for incident management capabilities. This evaluation instrument actually is a more high level. It kind of is a health check for an incident management capability. It takes a look at 16 key risk drivers, and you can rate yourself, you can rate your own organization, you can use it as a survey and collect and synthesize and summarize information, but it looks at those key risk drivers, and you then rate yourself on how well you think that you're doing in those different risk areas. All of those documents can be downloaded for free from the CERT website, and the URLs are listed on the slides.